Hello and welcome to episode 4 of Pedz Game Shack podcast. Today we have another special guest going by the name of Jeffyard. Why not say hello, dude?
Hello, dude.
How are you doing, man?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah,
On this
I'm
fine
well.
evening or fine day?
I'm actually rather hot.
Oh my! Yeah,
Not that kind of hot, just sweaty.
Oh, I mean, some people do like that, right?
Probably.
Probably. Hmm.
So, we're gonna start with a bit of currently playing stuff we've been playing, and as you're the guest, I'm gonna ask you, what have you been playing?
Well, I'm glad you've asked me this. I've just recently beaten Mega Man X8. It's a game that I think only. I think if you've beaten it prior to Sunday, the 31st of July, 2022, I think that puts you into a separate category of persons, of gamers. I'm sure you'd agree as well. But yeah, moving swiftly on before
I would agree that beating it prior to to Sunday would
beating it on.
No. You said prior to it. You said prior to it. So basically, you are not part of that elite group.
I beat it off stream beforehand as a test run.
And I did.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
No, you didn't. Show me the evidence.
Well, you show me the evidence.
No, I'm the guest. You show me the evidence, and I'll show you my evidence after. But aside from Mega Man XA, been doing some Yakuza 0, finding some Dream Daddies in Dream Daddy Simulator. There's one that looks like you, which
cool.
Yeah, I've not added him yet, but who knows? Axiom Verge and Rocket League, lots of Rocket League.
Ah, you've been back on the Rocket League, have you?
I have.
How many goals have you stolen?
0.
Yeah, I don't
how
believe
many?
that.
Why?
Because you're stealing goals.
Name one example.
When you stole mine, I went, my goal, bitch.
But you passed it to me, and I put it in the net.
This is not true.
I actually said, my goal. Now let me enjoy a rich tea biscuit. You misheard it.
Right. I don't think I did. I think I did.
I think you did. In fact, I don't think. I know you did. Yeah, I've been diving back into Rocket League.
How come?
I think it's just because I guess it's sort of like my chill out game, because I don't tend to game when I'm not streaming nowadays. I don't know whether you're the same.
Mostly.
So like, yeah, Rocket League is one of those games where I can just sort of go on, pop some music on or something else on in the background, podcast, whatever, and just chill out, if that makes sense.
Any podcasts in particular?
Yeah, there's this really cool streamer who's been interviewing lots of people. It's really cool. Like, talks about streams, talks about games, talks about news. It's Zozo's podcast.
Damn it, Jeff.
What? No, I've mainly been listening to it's Infinite Monkey Cage, which is like a science one with
with Brian Cox.
Yeah,
that's fair enough. I haven't listened to that for a while, actually. Same with No Such Thing as a Fish, which is really interesting to listen to as well.
You know what? You recommended that to me, and I've listened to like the first episode like so many times because I'm thinking, I'll just listen to it. And I end up falling asleep because it's sort of late at night, and I'm like, okay, I guess I'll listen to it again so I can actually watch the full episode. One day I won't fall asleep through it.
It's only on for half hour.
Yeah, no, but I tend to just put it on just before I go to bed with the
Yeah,
intention that
I do that a lot myself. Just chuck on a podcast, go up to bed, listen to it in bed, fall asleep, wake up with my earphones really dug into my ears while I'm lying on them.
Yeah, especially with like, because Infinite Monkey Cage is on iPlayer, at least in the UK. I think it's on
All
other
right.
services as well. So it sort of auto plays the next episode. So sometimes I fall asleep, I wake up at like 4 in the morning and be like listening to, I don't know, about how humans might be part of a simulation or something like. I don't need this in my sleep.
uh, moving on from podcasts because we meant to be talking about video games.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You said you've been playing several games, Mega Man X8, which you briefly mentioned, and then tried to move swiftly on. But you started playing Mega Man when streaming. Did you have much experience with it beforehand? Because I know you play through all of Mega Man and Mega Man X series now.
To be honest, not a lot. I played a bit of Mega Man a while it was, which was 1, 2, and 3 on the Sega Mega Drive
Yeah.
or Sega Genesis. But and mainly that was through emulator as well. So I don't think I got very far in them. But Mega Man's always sort of been, because I've always liked platformers like Sonic, Crash, Spyro. And Mega Man has always been one that I've known about, but never really experienced. So I thought that'd be a fun one to sort of go through, if that makes sense. And I think you're pretty much the same, right?
Yeah, I've had a little bit of experience with. I think it was either the first or the second Mega Man game when I was younger, but I basically came to the series more or less fresh because it was such a long time ago. So I'm a really old man, if in my 30s. But
Ouch.
you know,
Guys, 30s is not old. You've still got life in you.
but I basically, the first time I finished Mega Man was like 6 years ago, and I've slowly played through them. Like played through 1 and 2 quite quickly, then 3 to 6 quite quickly, then 7 to 9 to 10 quickly, then 11. You know, I played them in batches. I've recently started Mega Man Zero, and it's friggin' hard. But what do you expect from a Mega Man game? Especially after the final boss in X8. That was ridiculous, man.
Oh, right. Yeah, that is. I'd say that might be one of the hardest set of bosses in the series so far.
Yeah.
Yeah. So which have been your favorite Mega Man games to experience so far?
Mega Man 8, Mega Man X3, and Mega Man X6. Oh, wait, you said my favorite, not worst. I actually didn't mind Mega Man X8. I'll be honest, I preferred it to Mega Man 8. I preferred it to 7, except for the jump, slide stuff. Yeah. Other than that, I thought the game was fine. I didn't really like 7 very much. Don't know why, I just didn't feel right. 2 and 3 of original Mega Man, as well as 9 and 11.
Yeah.
And then probably X2, X4, one of those two, maybe. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Expo was really fun. Actually, I know you tend to put little clips of the various games as your editor miss, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was actually in my notes. I was gonna list a load of obscure games to say that I played, but I'd have to dig through loads of footage to try and find some. But that wouldn't be tight. And actually, the list of the most obscure games weren't even that obscure, so it wouldn't be that much of an inconvenience. I guess we can get jump, slide in, right? But yeah, I heard you really enjoyed Mega Man X6. So what made that the best experience of your Mega Man career?
basically the reason why I loved X6 so much is because the level design was perfect, enemy placement was spot on,
Top notch.
and the difficulty, it was like a nice even curve. There wasn't spikes all over the place. No, it was amazing.
And I think I'd agree.
Mm.
If I was held hostage and had my coffee taken away, deprived of me.
Yeah, it's an awful game. Everything I just said, think the complete opposite and spot on. It's literally it is literally the worst of the entire Mega Man series that I've played so far. Personally,
I think a lot of people would sort of agree with that because it did seem to be very rushed. I actually preferred it over Mega Man X3, but
well, you could be wrong. Sometimes you're allowed.
okay.
What else did I say you've been playing? Actually, you said Mega Man X8, Rocket League, Daddy Simulator. No, Dream Daddy.
Daddy, yeah.
Now, what's that about?
It's like a visual novel type game, dating simulator. So I guess Boyfriend Dungeon or Hatful Boyfriend.
I've heard of Hatful Boyfriend, and I've seen a trailer for Boyfriend Dungeon, but I thought that was more actiony.
I guess Boyfriend Dungeon does have the sort of dungeon element to it as well as a dating sim. But yeah, this was just sort of, I guess, a bit tongue in cheek. It just trying to date a dream daddy. So it's quite humorous in tone. It does tackle a few serious topics, I guess, like because you've got a daughter who's gone through middle school, so is dealing with her issues, trying to get into college or university, and dealing with falling out with friends and stuff. So, but yeah, it's just it's sort of a blast to play just because of how it doesn't take itself seriously. So yeah, I mean, I think it is quite big in the indie games to start bringing out like dating sims because you've got the KFC one. I know there'll be several others that sort of escape my mind, but yeah, this one's the first one that I've sort of experienced. So it's it's been pretty cool to see. But I mean, if you're not into it, you'll probably be like, oh, when will it end?
I've never played a dating sim because I've just never had the interest. But you know, if it's a bit tongue in cheek and stuff like that, it might be a bit more interesting to play. Like, especially if it's got the sense of humor was actually really good. You know, it's worth checking out. Then I would say, you know, always worth giving things a bash.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's one thing that sort of bringing it to Twitch, streaming has sort of helped, I guess, expand my the genre of games that I play rather than sticking to purely platformers or RPGs and going into like Metroidvanias as you recommended, Iconoclast,
Good game.
Axiom Verge, and stuff like the Dream Daddy, even Rocket League.
Yeah, you should try Indivisible if you like a couple of Metroidvanias. Indivisible's very good.
Yeah, I mean, Metroidvanias is another sort of, I guess, genre or subgenre of games that I never really bothered with growing up. Like, I never had Metroid or anything like that, so I've been a bit out of the loop in terms of that.
All right, I didn't know that. So
did.
what about Castlevania and
I've not played Castlevania, but I've been yeah. I think that's what everybody's like when I'm like, oh, I've not played it, but one day. But
there's some really good Castlevania games. You've got Symphony of the Night, Aria of Sorrow, Dawn of Sorrow, Portrait of Ruin, Order of Is it Ecclesia? Something like that. I can't remember exactly, but I've got awful memory. That's all.
Castlevania, I've got an awful memory.
Yeah, that's a good game, Castlevania. I've got an awful memory. It was released
Right.
for the Nintendo Famicom. Yes, it was only in Japan, and there was only one copy made.
It's like Simon Bell. Like, oh, I forgot where I've left my bloody keys. I can't lock the door now. But yeah, I've been. A lot of people have said that I probably dig Castlevania, and I think I would. But it's just finding times too many games.
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? And you did say another game you've been playing.
Yeah. So there's Yakuza 0.
Are you finding that?
Yeah, it's pretty cool so far. Again,
Uh,
first time playing a Yakuza game. Um, I mean, quote unquote Yakuza game because I found the arcade, so it's like I might as well just be playing Hang On or Space Harrier or Fantasy Zone, which is really exciting to unlock. So yeah, it's
Hey,
mainly just.
I'm gonna go around and do stuff. Let's just go to the arcade and play some retro titles.
Yeah, pretty much. I get every time I go on, I think, yeah, it's got such a deep story and stuff, and then you end up like the last time I was playing, I had to pretend to be somebody's boyfriend for the dad who cottoned on to me. Then he ended up asking me to be her actual boyfriend, and I'm like, oh, just want to go to play Fantasy Zone. Outrun, man, get out of my way. I just wouldn't show up. It's like right outside the arcade. Like, please.
See, I've played some of Zero. I didn't finish the game because I was playing that and a couple of other long, big games at the time. So it kind of like I just got kind of overwhelmed with all the stuff I was playing. But what I played of it, what I loved about Yakuza, or however you pronounce it, was the simple fact that the story was this really serious thing, and then all the side stuff was completely bonkers.
Yeah,
Just the juxtaposition of the main story to the silliness of the game, just amazing. Like,
no, it's a nice contrast as well because I mean it does get quite. I mean I've only played up to chapter 3 out of 15 or 16 so far. Yeah, but it is the main story is pretty serious. And then you just get all this side content which adds a bit of levity to it.
yeah,
So it's not just overwhelming you with like, you know, or this deep content where you've got to focus on it and be like, I guess it may be not quite as fun as you'd imagined until you get to a gameplay, but then in between it you can sort of do all these little fun side quests, and as I say, it adds a bit of levity to it, so you're like, I'm not having to be overwhelmed with this mob boss drama.
yeah. No, that's the one. That's not the one thing, but that's one thing that was really good was how, as you said, the contrast of silly and serious, like combined in one game. It was just fun. I'm not sure how far I got into though. I think I might have got into like second or third chapter. I'm not sure. Well, second, maybe third. I don't know. But I really enjoyed it a lot.
Should yeah, maybe if you ever get the opportunity, you should get back to it. Did you stream it at all? Or?
Yeah, I did. I did stream it. It's where I got my clip from of a guy in his pants dancing, and I put Grum's the best dancer. It pops up on my stream. It's funny.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, I'm nice like that. But I'll quickly tell you what I've played recently. I'll be quick because then we can move on to the news. But I've been playing a game called Stray. I won't go in depth on my thoughts on that. I'll just give a brief thing because I've done a review for it, which to be fair is quite brief in itself. But it's a really, really good game. Exactly.
Yeah,
And I actually liked walking around just pressing circle to meow.
yeah, I've heard that. So, I mean, most of the feedback that I've heard of Stray is that it's a really good game, but maybe a bit short.
I think I played it for around 4 hours. It is it's quite a short game, but I think the price of the game kind of reflects that by it being about, I don't know, 20, 30 quid or something in comparison to other PlayStation games, which are like 70.
Mm.
So, like, yeah, it's short, but it's well worth playing. And if you've got
Sure,
PlayStation Plus, you can play it any part of that.
yeah, but I don't really understand all these new PS Plus things now. It's like plus plus plus.
Well, there's
Yeah, like
PlayStation Plus, which is the normal essential, which is the normal one, and there's PlayStation
yeah,
Plus Extra, which gives you classic, not classic. It gives you new games that are released on a monthly basis. Not
aye,
new, but like they add new games every month.
mm,
And then there's Premium, which adds classic games as well. So PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PSP, PlayStation 3, so stuff like that.
okay.
So it's worth looking at. But you should give Stray a try, man. If you get a chance to play it, definitely do. I really liked it. I thought it was really good. I loved the like city and all the robots and stuff like that. It was just really intriguing story as well. So, you know, worth
Yeah, I
checking
guess
out.
I'd be interested in what the story is about. I mean, I guess it's a short game, so I wouldn't expect you to spoil it for anybody who's not played it or anybody who
Exactly.
wants to
It's a
play it.
very
But
recent game that's come out, so I don't want to say anything much. But good game. Play it. Very good game.
all right, guys, play Stray now. Stop watching a podcast, or finish a podcast, and then play Stray straight after.
Exactly. Do that.
Oh. Right, also subscribe and like, right?
Yeah,
And
on
hit that
YouTube,
bell
but on
on
the
YouTube. On the
on the other stuff that the podcast goes on, just subscribe and listen every 2 weeks because that's when it comes out.
and also subscribe to onlypeds.com.
I wonder people will try and see if that works. What is OnlyPads? Doesn't
If I can see any of
exist.
that stray pussy that he's on about. Talking about the game now, guys.
Brilliant. We're going to talk about news now. Because, like I said, I was only going to be brief about it because the only other game I'm playing is Overcooked 2, which I talked about last week and the week before, and Fallout 76, which I talked about last week. I'm still playing through that with Cumberdanes. Jawa joined us last time, and we had good fun, the three of us. We were all at the same point in the main story, so we're thinking about all three of us carrying on Wednesdays. And that's my update on Fallout 76. But when it comes to the news, I actually, like a plonker, completely forgot about the podcast until today. I forgot that we were recording it.
Okay.
So I was like, because I just didn't realize it was Friday, you know? And
Yeah, I've been waking up every morning thinking, oh, I can't wait for this podcast. What's on the news?
so I forgot to look for news, but fortunately, very fortunately, Jeff has actually been looking at game news himself.
Yeah,
Would you like to
I've
tell
got.
us what that game news is?
Yeah, you might want to sit down for this, folks.
I am sitting down.
Oh, well, stand up and then sit down again.
No.
No. But yeah, the gaming news that I've got hot off the press is that competitive gaming, so esports, is being included as a pilot event at the 2022 Commonwealth Games, with the hope that it'll be become mainstream and be included fully in the 2026 Commonwealth Games. So I think some of the commentaries that's been about is, whether you can see competitive gaming as a legitimate quote unquote sport. I guess if we want to bring legitimacy to it, shouldn't say quote unquote, but whether it can bring it some sort of mainstream attention, how much effort goes into it, as compared to traditional sports. And yeah, have you got any thoughts on gaming being introduced as like into these types of events?
Well, let's think about it. Already gaming is like the biggest industry in the world, I believe. Don't quote me on that. It's like the biggest industry in the world. So it's not like we as gamers then need this kind of thing to legitimize gaming, I guess. But at the same time, it's really cool that it's happening, because at the end of the day, the more people that are interested in it, the better. Because gaming is actually a really good way to relax, good way to chill out. It's good fun to just play a game. Like, you could play it with your friends. A lot of people are not going to go out and do bloody sprinting with their friends. Come on, let's sprint 100 meters and see who wins. No, I'm fat and lazy. Leave me alone.
I don't know about you, but I had to sprint 100 meters and I was nabbing my friend's ice cream.
No, I mean, what I mean. At the end of the day, gaming is mainstream now. It's not like it needs the Commonwealth to like put it into the mainstream. It's already there now. But I think what it will do is maybe bring in like a new crowd for that particular aspect of gaming, the esports side of it.
Do you think it'd allow for, say, parents who maybe aren't into gaming so much to sort of think perhaps their son or daughter or child could pursue this as a career, make
Yeah,
money off it?
they
'Cause,
could
I mean,
actually, especially if they seen it like the Commonwealth Games, because they'd be like, "Oh right, okay, let's have a look at this gaming shit," and then they're sitting down watching it all, and they're like, "Actually, no, maybe there is something the child could get out of this." And at the end of the day, there are studies that show that gaming is helpful in many ways. Like last week, we talked about well-being and that it doesn't really correlate, but the other things have shown that it does improve. So at the end of the day, the Commonwealth Games, having gaming as a part of it, is just gonna, I guess, for people who are dead set against it, gaming, then maybe it will allow them to kind of get their heads around it, get people to realize that no, it's for everyone. You don't. It's not just for nerds. Like a lot of people still seem to do. Like it's really strange, because I've seen so many people say like, yeah, this person said to me, I don't know how you can play games. It's like they sitting out like down doing nothing, just playing games, and then it's like, but like you find out what they do, and it's like, yeah, I just sit down and watch TV. It's like, well, how is that any better?
Well, it's interesting because one of the people who's sort of interviewed by the BBC in this article, Hagen Singh, and he's sort of like, as you were saying, his parents were initially quite against it, because he's saying it's taken away from focus from like studies and stuff. But if you're sending your child swimming, running, football competitively, they've equally got to set aside so much time to do that training. And there's a comparison made between, gaming and snooker, how much movement really do you do in snooker as compared to sprinting. And I know it'd be slightly more than in gaming, but yeah,
Darts.
darts. Is darts at the Commonwealth Games?
Nah, I don't think so. But I'm on about just jet
But yeah,
sports in general is considered a sport in darts. So
Yeah, and not to disparage darts or
Oh
snooker
no,
or
no! I
anything
just
else.
when it comes to activeness, they're not
Yeah.
exactly the most active sports, are they, compared to running, swimming, cycling? No, but they still are considered fine. I don't know if it's
I
more
guess
social
even
aspect or what. I don't know.
chess to an extent as well.
Yeah.
Uh, which I know there's been some moves to bring that in as a sport in the past. And gaming, for example, it does require, especially at a competitive level, a certain degree of knowledge of the mechanics of the games, of awareness of even outside of it. You've got the PR side of things and maintaining a brand and image, which perhaps could be put aside to a separate team. But
Mm-hmm.
uh, yeah, I feel like once you get to that level, it becomes, not just about gaming. It also brings in other aspects that perhaps you might not take into account. I guess what this leads me in to say is, do you do any competitive gaming yourself, or do you watch any competitive gaming?
I do not do any competitive gaming. I barely play online.
Mm,
When I do, it's with like a group of friends, like yourself or Matt or Cumberdanes or Rebellion or Jasm,
mm.
like that kind of thing. I'm not really one for competitive gaming, but I do occasionally watch Rocket League, because that is awesome. Like the
Yeah,
skill that is shown in that game, I always like. Why can't I be this good?
and I don't know Rocket League especially is just so flashy and just so cool to watch them do all the tricks and aerials and stuff that I can't even dream about doing. Just like driving around in little jumps. Uh,
Stealing people's goals.
not the case. Uh,
But
but,
yeah, what about you? Do you watch any esports? You into any?
not esports. Like as I say, I do watch the occasional Rocket League tournament or high level player. But I guess occasionally I've watched quite a few speed runs. Normally stuff like Sonic or Ratchet or Spyro, which again, whilst not being, I guess, competitive esport, it is sort of quite quite a lot of skill on a
Yeah,
different, uh, with sort of a different aspect to it, which again, if you get somebody who's really confident, knows the game, can talk about all the tricks used, how they pull it off, those can be pretty fun to watch. Like there's one called Zem92 XCM who does ratchet speedruns, but he's also like a professional singer, so
all right.
he's really cool to watch. Just because he explains everything well, all
Yeah,
the tips and tricks, and it just looks flashy as well. So yeah,
no, that's
I guess
cool.
that's the extent I watch.
But you also said to me you had another news article.
I did. Well, this one's not game related,
Oh,
but
okay then.
um, I thought it was interesting. So yeah, it's about a mayor of a town called Cockington. It could be a village.
I think I know
Uh,
what you're on about. Yeah,
yeah. have you read this? And
I've seen it on the news. I
it
think.
got bad from a pub. And the news article I saw, just saw it on Twitter, and it's saying Mayor Bad from the pub refuses to resign. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I'll click on it anyway. I was expecting to see this defiant mayor. Turns out it's a Shetland pony.
Yep.
I was like, surely that should be the forefront of the news art. Like, why didn't I see Pony elected as mayor about 2 years ago or whenever it became mayor of Cockington? When it enjoys a pint of Guinness, I was like, okay, I just thought it's
It's mad, isn't it? The mayor's a pony.
yeah, don't know whether he or she, the pony, would do any better than a human. Perhaps they would. But yeah, that's my news story.
Yeah, it's actually pretty funny though, because at the end of the day, like when I saw it, I can't remember what I saw it on. It's I saw the same thing. Mayor ban a bard from a local pub. They can't have the regular pint of Guinness, and then I was like, okay, it's a Shetland pony, and you don't realise that at first, like I'm sure there was a picture of the Shetland pony, but with a few people, so I just assumed it was one of the people there, not the goddamn Shetland pony.
I was actually scrolling through one of the news pages from it, and it had like the Shetland pony posing in the beer garden in the full mayor outfit, like all the red little robes and stuff.
That's
I was
brilliant.
like, yeah, I mean, if I was the editor, I would have sort of just titled it, why the long face? Don't know.
Yeah.
But, and you do.
Yeah, that's a brilliant news article to have brought to us.
Yeah, I think it adds a bit of levity.
Yeah, it does.
You know what? It sounds like it does sound a bit like we were talking about Yakuza Zero earlier. We sort of had like the serious thing about esports getting into the Commonwealth, and we just had the batshit thing of a pony being out from a pub.
They can have was it Kiryu? Is that his name? Kiryu?
Yeah.
They can have Kiryu go to the pub now and punch the landlord in the face until he allows the Shetland pony back in.
I can see that, yeah. In Yakuza 8, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. They should do that.
No, they shouldn't. They should hire us to do it.
Okay, yeah. That'll be fine. I'll just sit on someone.
I think we're going into Dream Daddy now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we may as well move on to We Play Together, which is the section where we talk about a game that we picked to play together. That game is Blossom Tales, the Sleeping King. I didn't say DuckTales. So, it's an indie game I've actually been curious of for a while, Blossom Tales. So when you said, Blossom Tales, I don't mind playing that, I was like, cool, I'll jump on it. How much have you played of it so far? Like, you enjoying it?
Yeah, I am actually. I've not gotten very far into it. I've gotten just past the first dungeon, but what I played of it, I've really sort of digging it so far. Very Zelda-like.
Yes.
I'm sure you'd agree. So
yeah, well,
really...
to be honest, it starts off and it's literally wearing its Zelda inspiration on his sleeve, where it's being a story being told, and the grandfather is telling the story. He says, "Have I ever told you about the little elf boy who went and saved the world, or something along these lines?" It was, "Have I ever told you about the little elf boy who went and saved?" Hi, and it stopped on that. So clearly, it's showing straight away, like the little elf boy who saved Hyrule. Is basically, got that thing. It's like, no, you've told us that one. Let's tell us a new story. So instantly you're like, right. You can clearly see the inspiration straight away from just that bloody sentence.
Yeah, and as soon as you go into the game world as well, being able to pick up pots or chairs and stuff and bob them across the room. When you get the sword and the shield, and yeah, it's not shy about its inspiration.
Yeah, there's even a track in name one of the towns that actually sounds a lot like one of the tracks from Zelda. It starts off similar to it and changes, and obviously it loops all the time. So like the beginning few bars of it sounds like maybe Zelda's Lullaby, I think. Sounds similar to Zelda's Lullaby, but then changes. And then again, when loops, sounds like Zelda's Lullaby, and then changes. And that's just in one of the towns. It might be like it throughout with other tunes, but only that one I noticed. And it's not like exactly the same, but it's similar enough to kind of link them, for me anyway.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I didn't really pay too much attention to the music, to be honest.
Disgusting.
But yeah,
Really good music in the game, actually.
Yeah, I have enjoyed what I've heard of it. I think, as I say, even the music is reminiscent of something you might hear in Zelda. As you say, that you've noticed some similarities between the music in Boss and Tail and Zelda's Lullaby, but yeah, it's I've enjoyed listening to the music so far. How far did you end up getting into it?
What seems to be headed to the final location in the game. I actually didn't finish it, whereas last podcast I didn't finish the game. The first two I did. The last one and this one I haven't finished it because I was like, oh, I got plenty of time to crack on with it, and I was like, oh no, it's Friday, damn it, let's play more Blossom Tales. So I did play more Blossom Tales. And yeah, I'm on my way to take out the main villain now. And I am hoping to get that done tomorrow, maybe.
Okay.
But I really enjoyed it. How far have you got into, say?
Literally just past the first dungeon. I beat the Rat King, so not very far at all. I did actually want to commit more time to it, but yeah, just I played. I was exploring the town and village yesterday. When I got home, and it's like, well, I best actually get at least one dungeon done so we can talk about some actual gameplay.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Well, in the game, it's kind of similar to Zelda in that you go through dungeons, you pick up a weapon usually, or some kind of item that will help you through the rest of the dungeon, and is beneficial to have against the boss, because usually you need to use that item against the boss. So it's got that similar mechanic. It doesn't seem to have boss keys though, so you don't need to open a chest. You basically fight a mini boss. Then I'm not sure about the very first dungeon, but usually in the day you fight the mini bosses, and that's where you get your items. Like one of the items I got was a bow and arrow, so spoilers. You get a bow and arrow, and it's a fairly old, not fairly old, but it's a few years old now. So saying you get a bow and arrow in a game that's pretty much a Zelda game, or Zelda style game, is not really a shock.
I can play it anymore, knowing that there's a bow and arrow on it. It's like telling me Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's.
I thought you would say I weren't. But no, it's like you literally, instead of having the boss key in Zelda, that's where you'd have your boss key. You'd find the chest around there, and in later games there was more mini bosses. But this is literally mini boss in each dungeon. Kill the mini boss, get the item, progress through the dungeon. I also found the dungeons to be if I was to compare this to the 2D Zeldas, the dungeons to be much bigger.
Okay.
They take a lot more time to traverse than in Zelda. Personally, I thought they were quite long.
Yeah, what would you say that's to its benefit or to its detriment?
No, I actually think it's to its benefit. The game is quite short in general from the scenes of it. So it saves every screen. I don't know if when you load it back up, you'll start in the exact same place you were. So say you're like halfway through dungeon, don't know if you're starting to put you back to the beginning, but you've still done most of the stuff. You can just walk through and carry on. And to be honest, it's been really enjoyable. The dungeons have been interesting. They've had some interesting puzzles in there. There's the push block puzzles. There's ones where you have to step on tiles. You have to like make a not like a pattern, but well, you do make a pattern, but you've got to make sure you stay in the confines of certain things. You can't like the area. You've got to stay in the confines of this area as well as staying in the confines of the area. You can't double back on yourself, so you can't like go over the same tile twice because then you have to restart. Right. So you've got them. You have other puzzles like memory puzzles, like you get in some games where it's like in Zelda Ocarina of Time, for example, you have to remember notes that you play with frogs. For example, in this, it's like you hit a block. You have to see the notes play on these blocks, and you have to hit them. That kind of thing. So say like you've got 4 blocks, like 1 will blink, 3 will blink, 4 will blink. You have to remember to hit 1, 3, 4, and then add an extra note and gets faster each time, up to about 4 times, I think. Generally speaking, I found it looks really nice. Like all the sprites are really tidy. The world looks nice. The dungeons are nice and kind of grubby-ish. Although they do vary quite a bit because of what do you call it? They are set in different areas. Like most games like of this, they will have different biomes for you to go to, and this does that. So you've got a few different places to go. I don't know what the last dungeon's like, so I'm literally on my way to it when I jumped off it, because I've been playing it for a few hours today. And yeah, I've really been enjoying it. You know, I don't know what you thought of it so far. What do you think of it visually, mechanically? You know,
I mean, visually, it sort of just reminds me of like, I guess, what Zelda would be on the Game Boy Advance, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've really enjoyed it. It's been because I'm as a really big fan of Link's Awakening, and so far, even though I've only played a short portion of it, you know, it's something that I definitely like to continue and finish off in my spare time. But perhaps even stream it at some point.
It's funny enough you mentioned Link's Awakening, because one of the things I was actually thinking about it is out of the Zelda games that I've played, which is all Bar Spirit tracks, it reminds me most of Link's Awakening. Something about it just invokes Link's Awakening to me. I don't know why.
Yeah, I think for me, part of it is because I know Link's Awakening sort of broke the fourth wall at various points, and then you've got this game that's sort of, again, a bit tongue-in-cheek. You've got the interruptions, because it's sort of like the grandpa's telling the story, right? So, you know, it's like, does Lily have Lily being the main character? Does she have the courage? And the kids are like, yeah, of course she does. And you've had the, as you mentioned at the beginning, he's mentioned, have I told you the story of the elf who saved Hyrule, but not quite going there. And yeah, it sort of reminds me of like the breaking of the fourth wall you might get in Link's Awakening.
Yeah. Speaking of the interruptions, there are times, spoilers for people who, you know,
there are times when you might get a bow and arrow.
There's times where you'll come upon like a certain part of the game, and it'll be like, right, this is what's invading the village, and you'll have to make a choice of which kids pick. It's like, no, it's a ninja. No, it's a samurai, and you have to pick. I don't think any of those are in there, but it's that kind of thing. That's popped up
that's
a few
pretty
times.
cool.
That is cool, because you can play through again and do both.
Yeah. I mean, do you think once you beat the game that you'd ever think of replaying it at all, or would it be a once and done for you?
I think, like most games, it'd probably be a once and done, especially if there is actually a sequel coming out soon. I'm just trying to remember what it's called. It's called Blossom Tales. Blossom Tales 2, yeah. I think it's called Blossom Tales 2. Like this one is called The Sleeping King, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, Blossom Tales 2 is called The Minotaur Prince. Or The Minotaur Prince, depending on how you pronounce things.
Or the Minotaur Prince.
Or the Minotaur corned beef can. But I would actually really like to play the sequel after playing this one, unless it like really shits the bed at the end. Then I would really like to play the follow-up game. But like I'm trying to think of like negatives to the game because I've been enjoying it and like I haven't really thought of many. Like
I mean, I think from what I've seen, you know what you're gonna get. If you like Zelda, or if you like sort of classic 2D Zelda, I think you'd just enjoy this, to be honest.
Yeah, pretty much.
It just seems competently made. Like, so far, the controls and stuff have been responsive. The designs have been really cool. Music's been good. So, you know, unless you want it to be like a perfect game, I don't think there's too much that you can complain about.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to agree with that. Like I'm trying to think of like I said, I was trying to think of aspects that I think are negative about it, and like I wouldn't say the game is perfect because there never is a perfect game. There never will be a perfect game, in my opinion. I could, of course, be wrong.
Skypop.
Skypop is the perfect game, actually.
Yeah.
Apart from Skypop, there is no other perfect game, and
Pop.
like that's the problem. It's like trying to think of something to say like, oh yeah, this aspect is bad, this aspect's bad. Like I've enjoyed the little interruptions and like it being told like a story because it's a little different to the norm. Like yeah, you have had games do it before, more than likely. I'm guessing. I can't remember. My brain is shite. But at the end of the day, as in my memory is shite, not my brain, my memory itself. But you know, it's just really enjoyable. The upgrades you get are good. If a little, I guess, generic then, maybe, because a lot of other adventure games of this style tend to have the same kind of items you get. But yeah, it's just an enjoyable, fun little adventure.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the only thing that you might critique it for is, you know, maybe if you are a massive fan of Zelda, and you know, you might not want to make the comparisons between the two games, but honestly, I think I think most people would enjoy it, as it says, and as you've said, it just seems like a fun little game.
Yeah. I guess it doesn't do a lot to differentiate it. Like, it doesn't do anything that's very unique for the game itself. But at the end of the day, I think, like, the way the story's told, making the choices, I think that gives it its own little USP to Zelda, you know?
Yeah, I think the way the story's told is a bit more distinct. I mean, to be honest, I think if you made it too different from Zelda, then perhaps, unless it did something like a really cool gimmick, perhaps it just wouldn't be as well received as it might have been otherwise. I mean, you can't say for certain, but yeah, it just seems to be a very competent Zelda-inspired game.
Yeah, completely agree with you there. And I've been enjoying it, and I will indeed be finishing it.
Yeah,
Whereas the
we
game
haven't
that
been.
me and Prinny played last week, I don't think I'm gonna go back to it.
Shadow Corridor.
Shadow Corridor, yeah, it's just too bloody confusing, that game. I just got lost most of the time. I was lost for the entirety of. I played it for I don't know how long, hour or two, and I did the first chapter okay, and in the second chapter I just didn't have a single clue what I was doing. I was just walking around the same corridors over and over again, and when I did find keys to open doors, they led to a room which had pretty much nothing in there, or some pebbles or a note, which didn't help me progress. There was no extra keys. I didn't know what the hell I was doing, so it's not my cup of tea. There,
Did you
unfortunately.
go back to Shadow Corridor since you did your podcast?
No, because the times I have played games this week, apart from when I played Blossom Tales, I've streamed. Like Monday, I
Right.
streamed Mega Man X8 to finish it. Tuesday, I streamed.
Not heard of that game.
No, me until I played it. I was the first person to ever play it on Monday.
Yeah.
And then I played Stray on Tuesday,
Mm.
and then on Wednesday I played Fallout 76. Yesterday I played, I think it was some Blossom Tales, and today I played more Blossom Tales. So other than that, I haven't really played anything, unfortunately.
Right. I mean, that's fair enough. I think it seemed like I guess a pretty cool concept, but yeah, it just seemed a bit confusing from what I've heard. Like, I think
Yeah,
you've only got a map if you played on an easy difficulty, right?
yeah. That's what Prinny said. Yeah, that if you play on the easy difficulty, because I think there's two difficulties, easy and normal. Maybe I'm not sure if there's a harder one, but you get a map, and I don't know if it's like a full map or if it's just like a little mini map. I didn't think to ask, actually. But or I think she might have said you have to bring it up, so you have to stop in the middle and bring it up. I'm
Right.
not sure, but I just got lost. This game is definitely more my cup of tea than Shadow Corridor. You gonna play Shadow Corridor?
Probably not, to be honest. I mean, it seemed to have quite a cool horror slant to it, and from seeing the footage or that you were demonstrating, some of the areas look pretty cool, but just didn't really captivate me.
Yeah, I like the setting and stuff. It's just I couldn't wrap my head around being lost in a maze. It wasn't enjoyable. Like if I was having to run from stuff like you do in there, but it was a bit more linear, I think I'd have been happier.
Right. Yeah, I think from the sounds of it, if maybe the puzzles has been a bit more intuitive, because you're talking about ravens and stuff, and one dropping a key if you lobbed a match at it or whatever, and like what?
Yeah, firecrackers.
Firecrackers, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Probably not one I'd go for, I'm afraid.
That's fair enough.
I've got enough corridors at work. Don't need to come home and be like, oh, what should I do? Well, let's stroll down another corridor.
Yeah, but to be fair, do you get chased by evil monster things in your corridors at work?
Yeah.
Okay then. Well, there you go. You play
So,
Shadow Corridor in
get
real
back
life?
to your desk. Stop throwing firecrackers at the crows.
So, you're not interested in Shadow Corridor, fair enough. One thing I'm going to say is, which you're obviously going to know, you may have already answered, but are you going to continue playing Blossom Tales?
Yeah, I probably will, to be honest. I think I'd like to. I mean, as I say, I'm a really big fan of Link's Awakening. So I think it'd be like my alley, what I've experienced so far. So yeah.
Are you gonna continue from where you left off, or are you gonna start again and stream it on Sundays?
I might stream it. It probably won't be in the too near future, so I'll probably play it off stream if I can. For again, it'd just be finding the times. Otherwise, if I do get round to like maybe finishing Axiom Verge, might just start Blossom Tales from the beginning.
That's fair enough. Axiom Verge is a very good game, by the way. Didn't talk about that, did we? But I'll add that now that Axiom Verge is a very good Metroidvania.
I've gotten a bit lost in it, to be honest, but
yeah, oh well, nothing wrong with that. But I think that is going to be the end. We've been going for about an hour, and this podcast tends to last an hour. But before we go, is there anything you would like to plug?
It's twitch.tv/Pedz. That's over 3. No, I think I'm all good, thanks. But yeah, just have a great day, and thanks for having me.
What about your Twitch channel, Jeff?
Sure they can pop on a link that'll appear on either the description or on the screen. If you care to, of course.
Okay, I'll do
Otherwise, you can find me about in Petz's channel, probably. So
Jeff,
just say, "Oh, you come out of hiding," and I'll be there.
Fair enough, dude. Yeah, that's going to be it from me and Jeff. I would like to say thank you for taking part. It's been a pleasure having you. I would love to have you on again.
Appreciate
it. That's good. I hope it is massively appreciated.
Yeah, it is. Massive. I appreciate it.
But that's going to be it from us, and we will be back with the next episode in a fortnight. And I'm not sure who's up next, because I'm not sure if I've set it in stone. But I would like to say thank you again, Jeff.
Yeah, and if you need somebody for next week, I can come on and just do a funny voice and be like, "Oh gosh, my name's Jeffyard."
Don't give your voice away. I'm not going to be able to do it now.
Oh, I've got other voices. Oh yes. But no, cheers for having me.
No problem. A pleasure, dude. A pleasure. Bye-bye, everyone. Say bye-bye, Jeff.
Bye.